Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 broke me. If the mace is just bashing and the longsword is like this cool new mechanic that we haven't really experienced, and it's essentially Master Strikes but enhanced like 4.0, I would kind of want to have at least like a 2.0 with the other weapons, unless the other weapons have their own. I don't know. I really don't. I'm essentially just probably going to use 2 different weapons. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to see which one I prefer and keep that long term. And I didn't think I would do this. As I said in my videos, I was going to try not to react to too much gameplay reviews, even though they're without spoilers. But I can't. Alright. So, Henry with my haircut, as y'all have been saying, is back. And I'm here to actually check this video by Neon Knight. 50 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. My thoughts. So yes, I had to go and pick out the one with the most hours played, because I just can't hold it anymore, man. Leave me alone, guys. I've been playing Kingdom Come 1, live streaming it every day. Go watch the videos, subscribe to me. We're almost at 1,000 subs, but I just can't. I have to watch it. So let's just get into it. Let's see what's up. It's supposed to be no spoilers, and so I will watch it, and the moment I smell spoilers, I will immediately click off the video.
I've now played over 50 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I went to a small event in December where I played the game for an entire day, and then on Friday of last week, Warhorse sent me a code for the full game, an entire month before release.
All right.
So today I want to answer all of the non-spoiler questions I know you guys have.
Non-spoiler questions.
I've spent
there it is.
every possible second taking in the open world, the combat, the stealth, the blacksmithing, the lockpicking, the...
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Let's just get started. Although keep in mind this is still a preview video focused on gameplay in the open world.
All right.
No spoilers, and I'll have a full review much closer to launch because there's a certain cutoff point in the game I can't talk about or show footage past anyway.
See, I respect that. I actually respect that, because if I had the game copy too, I would have done the same thing. Now I know there's rules, so technically he can't, like legally, I guess. But even then, even if he could, I respect that.
Also, I do need to say a big thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video.
Shout out Rocket
more
Money,
on them
guys.
a little later.
All right.
So to start, we should get into the combat first, because to put it very simply, Warhorse have done something special here. They've taken the core of KCD1's combat system and have improved, well, just about everything. And here's my favorite see-it-with-your-own-eyes example of exactly what I mean.
All right.
If you happen to remember, KCD1 had a move called the Master Strike, which was the move that would get you a free hit every time an enemy swung at you.
With any weapon, it worked, and it was a very great move. It kind of reminds me of, like, this is the feeling I have in me. I don't know if any of y'all have played the old Assassin's Creed, but in the older Assassin's Creed, that's what you would essentially do. Just kind of wait in front of the enemy, and when he attacks you, you, like, you know, kill him. So with that move, like, you just do a move and it counters. This doesn't immediately kill, but it's like there, you know, it's cool.
You'd see a green shield center screen, and with one click, you'd deal out an unblockable counterattack.
Yep.
It was super easy to pull off, no brain power required, and in my opinion...
Hey, no brain power. Brain dead guy. Easy.
It really undermined what the rest of KCD1's combat system was going for.
Huh?
Warhorse clearly felt similarly, because now, in KCD2, the Master Strike is completely different and is just way more interesting.
How? I know he's about to get into it, but like, let me just take a split second to try to guess. From what I saw in that clip he just showed, it's not as slowed down. I might not be as creative as, you know, game developers.
To do it, you have to be watching which direction your opponent is going to attack from, and then when you see that green shield, you have to attack from the exact opposite direction to earn a Master Strike. It's very satisfying, and if you hadn't already guessed, this new system allows you to strategically avoid getting Master Striked yourself, because...
Wait. So now it's not just a button you press, but you have to attack from the other direction? So if he attacks me from here, like let's say the sword is coming at me, I have to instead attack from the right side, and then that blocks it, I guess, and then attacks him instead? Yo, that's gonna work on our reflexes. Bro, people that were complaining KCD combat is hard, good luck.
Enemies can only... New system allows you to strategically avoid getting Master Striked yourself, because enemies can only Master Strike you if you attack from the opposite direction of where they are already defending.
So I have to also, wait a second, this is layered, this is an onion, this is Shrek. So I have to also look at where he's defending. Like, let's say in this case.
So, for example,
Oh,
if
he's
they're
gonna show it.
blocking their upper left, don't go for their upper right until they're attacking and you see that green shield. That way you're don't go for their upper right defending. So, for example, if they're blocking their
They're blocking their upper left.
don't go for their upper right
Don't go in the opposite way.
until they're attacking and you see that green shield.
Until they're attacking. So if they're not okay, for example, they're not attacking me and they're defending their left. I do not attack the right. That kind of seems like, I know it makes sense. It makes sense from the mechanic perspective of, well, when he's attacking you, you have to attack the opposite way so that you can counter-strike him. But it kind of seems counterintuitive because if somebody, let's say, has a shield on their left side, well, why would you attack the shield side? He has a shield there. He's going to block it. You want to attack the open side. But if you attack the open side, he counter-strikes you. So I guess the only thing that you should do maybe is attack up or down or straight. Maybe. Let's see what he says.
That way you're guaranteed to avoid getting Master Striked.
Okay.
Plus, that's not even to mention that the Master Strike is now a sword-only skill. So, if you're fighting peasants...
Oh my god, Chad had said that. Wait a second. This is actually true. So that means it's a sword...
Using clubs, you don't have to worry about getting Master Striked. That move is what now sets refined sword fights apart from beating bandits down with the more brute force weapons. Overall, Warhorse have just put a lot of effort into making the different weapon types...
Wait a second, don't just go over that as if you said nothing.
...feel different. A fight with longswords feels like a truly thoughtful battle, whereas if you're going after roadside bandits while armed with an axe or a mace, you feel like a brute because you are one. That's the idea.
Okay, but what if I go against roadside bandits when I have a longsword? So I'm not a brute anymore, but they are. Wait a second, so if you don't use a longsword, you're a brute. Wait, hold up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa! Now I got some thinking to do here. My favorite weapon until now in Kingdom Come Deliverance had been the mace. The reason it had been the mace is because the mace is fun because I guess, yeah, brutefully you bash heads in. That's what I like. But I loved Master Strikes. So now it means if I want to have the higher level of combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I need to use a longsword. Because if I use a mace, well, essentially I'm just bashing my mace at their heads. And if they're using a mace, I don't have to think about the mechanic. I just defend. Just defend. Unless I'm using a longsword and then I Master Strike them, but then that means that the longsword is the best weapon ever, right? Because you can always just Master Strike it. As long as you get it, the defending from the opposite direction of where they're attacking you from, then you can just always Master Strike with a longsword. Doesn't that kind of like put into question, well, put at risk the people that would use different weapons? Because now the way this makes me feel, without any experience, look, maybe the combat is made in a way that it'll accommodate for this, but I feel like right now I'm kind of gonna use two weapons no matter what. Like I'm gonna use the longsword just to have, like, I want to experience the new combat mechanics, but at the same time I guess I'll also have a mace to just have it for fun. Like I don't want to just have a mace and then never like Master Strike. That kind of seems, I don't know what you think about that.
And it's fun in a completely different way.
All right.
Alert!
Yeah, that's fun. I agree. That's exactly why I want a mace.
Next up, though, I want to talk about the open world exploration in case
All
you
right.
need to,
I got a lot of questions about combat still, but I guess we'll find out soon enough in like 20 days, 19 days or something. But let's see the exploration.
It does not disappoint. I frequently found myself, even during that one-day preview event, having random NPCs telling me about rumors they'd heard that I'd then try to verify, or giving leads on loot that every single time I would take as a challenge to track down somewhere on the map.
That's cool.
Did some merchant mention spilling his inventory south of your location? Well, if he did, the game won't disappoint you. You'll be able to find it, and it'll be worth your while.
All right, that's cool.
Did the bailiff mention a bunch of fresh graves near the village? Well, if you're not afraid of getting your hands dirty, go dig those graves up. And if you hear gossip about a goblin's hut, well, no spoilers, but the hut you hear the peasantry speak of is real, though I'll let you find out for yourself what's inside. Overall,
Cool,
though,
cool, cool. I
KCD2's
like that.
world just has more consistent,
That's like the first
interesting
game.
open
That's
world
not
content than
new.
the
I'm
first
assuming
game
it's
did.
just more
It
refined.
very much
now.
rewards unguided exploration, and the actual side quests, like the substantial ones you'll be led directly to, are very high quality as well.
Yes,
There are a
we
ton
all
of them,
know.
and while I want to keep this
Sheep!
video very spoiler-free,
Sheep!
the one thing I will say is that if you loved the quest in KCD1 where Henry and Father Godwin share a wild night out together,
No
well,
way.
KCD2 has what I'd call a very long spiritual successor to that quest. One I can't wait for people to experience.
Oh, me
I
neither.
just want someone to love me.
Oh, that's
you
so
have noble
cool.
ambitions.
I want that so
I also
bad.
want to point out that building your Henry up, because after the prologue, I'll keep this vague, but essentially you're left with not even a shirt on your
Yeah, I
back,
heard
plus your
that.
stats take a hit around then too, but recovering your Henry from that low point doesn't need to be a long, grueling process. It's not
Okay.
like Warhorse Factory reset him. At the preview event I went to, one of the very first things I did was leave the starting town and head into the open world.
Smart.
From there, I
That's
stole
how you.
some
That's how you test if the game is well built. If they don't just try to force you in one direction. Not every game. Open world games like these that promise you freedom. That's how you test those games.
beginner equipment from a grave, then found and killed a bandit with nice armor, and then, after equipping said armor, I was pretty much good to go. I wasn't powerful, but
Cool.
I was able to get by perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Some are not going to love to hear this, some will, but
Cool.
this isn't like KCD1 where Henry just sucks at everything when the game starts. Instead,
Oh.
he's okay at things, even at his lowest point, so just
Bro,
acquiring decent armor...
Honestly, if you're like that RPG mechanic freak, like you really want it, just straight up like play KCD1 at this point. If you haven't played KCD1, just go play KCD1. And if you have played KCD1 and expect KCD2 to be exactly the same thing, wake up.
already gets you in a pretty good place. And that's not even to mention
this
that
makes
for
sense. This
free,
makes total
with a little
sense.
effort, you'll be able to recover Henry's horse Pebbles and his dog Mutt. So really, instead of
That's so
thinking of
sick.
it as building Henry up, like I said before, you're more putting him back together at the start of the sequel.
Alright, makes
and
sense.
I think it works really well.
I
It's a
fuck
good
with that.
balance.
It's good.
You
It's
don't
really
have a
good.
Henry who is instantly overpowered, but you still have a Henry who feels like the one who experienced everything he did in the first game.
Yeah.
Now, that said, before I get into talking about stealth and the new crime system, plus the new blacksmithing minigame, I do need to quickly tell you about Rocket Money. To get personal
Rocket
for a
Money!
second, I'm in my 20s, I've been working towards saving up for a house, and I can tell you that Rocket Money has been a borderline miracle in helping
Very
me
good.
do exactly that. If you don't know, Rocket Money is an all-in-one, free-to-download personal saving, letting me before today.
Amazing.
Just go to rocketmoney.com/neon or click the link in the description to get started for free. Anyway,
Alright.
let's now talk about crime in KCD2. and
Crime.
also stealth, because those two go hand in hand. Now, keep in mind, most things in the stealth
Okay, wait.
category-
This is what I hadn't actually seen what the lockpicking looks like. It looks pretty much the same, just more like prettier, I guess. But I feel like it's the same mechanic.
especially are basically unchanged.
Okay.
Lockpicking, pickpocketing, really the entire stealth loop hasn't been messed with much. It's only been polished.
I mean, in my opinion, it was good. I know people on console were talking a lot about like how it's shit on console, the lockpicking, but I play on PC, so it doesn't affect me much.
up. But where Warhorse have really put their focus this time is on specific consequences for your crimes, many of which will likely be committed during stealth.
Yeah.
For example, there's now a lot more depth in terms of NPCs recognizing things you stole
I
from
love
them
that.
if you're dumb enough to go back to their house wearing their clothes. And there's also
Okay, wearing their clothes is cool because the one issue I had was sometimes I feel like in the first game, I would actually steal something. Like, I'll steal this, I'll put it in my pockets. And then somehow they knew. It didn't happen too often. It's still pretty well made. But sometimes it did where I'm like, why am I even a wanted criminal here? Like, they don't even know I've done this. Because often, like a lot of other times, I would literally walk into a place that I'm not allowed to be in. I would leave and nobody would care. But the moment I had something in my pockets, it's like a guard is just going to be like, hey, let me just search you. For no reason. But it's fine.
So
Like,
along-
it was still pretty good. Like, I'm still playing it, actually. It still is pretty good. It's not game breaking.
list of possible punishments now, from branding to the pillory to caning to even execution. But I will say,
That's
if you
so
played
sick.
KCD1, I don't think you'll need to deal with the punishment system often, or maybe ever, unless you're specifically wanting to be punished.
Yeah.
Stealthing around has been made a lot less frustrating in KCD2.
Ooh, how?
I said it
How
was
so?
cleaned up, and what I mean is, well, in KCD2, you're only ever really punished in stealth if you specifically do something beyond your capabilities.
Huh.
If you start picking a hard lock right next to somebody's head while your thievery skill isn't very leveled up, yeah, they're going to wake up and notice you, but if you're being thoughtful and careful and playing within your means, you will be okay. You won't get caught, at least in
So if you're not me and you got a couple of brain cells actually working, you'll be okay. All right, I'm gonna get caught a lot of times.
my experience.
I'm gonna
Way
get
more
caught
importantly,
so
though,
much.
you're not going to find yourself
Shit.
ever wanted for a crime you weren't spotted doing. That
Yeah.
happened a lot in the first game. Find yourself
He's
ever
bro. He's talking exactly about what I said. This is what I want to
wanted
hear.
for a crime you weren't spotted doing.
Okay, you're not gonna get caught for a crime you weren't spotted doing.
That happened a lot in the first game. You'd commit some crime absolutely
knew it, I'm
no
not
one
crazy.
saw, and next thing you know, you're wanted, and the
I'm not
omniscient guards
crazy.
are trying to throw you in jail.
In this
KCD2,
situation.
everything feels much more realistic and immersive. If you're not spotted, or if you clean up any potential witnesses, you will get away with it. And even if you do get caught and don't want to resort to murder, you can often make deals with the eyewitnesses.
I won't let you get away with this.
Wait.
I apologize. I must have made some.
Oh, I'm gonna be the sneakiest bastard there is. I swear I'm gonna go rob people's entire houses. Like, they're gonna not have any clothes on their fucking body. And I'm going to convince them that, please, you could just buy a new pair, right? And then they're like, alright, sure, fuck it, alright. Like, I'm sure.
But surely you'll gladly forgive someone of my
Yeah.
standing, won't you?
All right. No doubt it'll come in handy one day to be in your good books.
I'm never gonna see this guy ever again. It's never gonna be handy for you, except maybe potentially that you will not die right now. That's the only way this is handy, not the way you think it is going
run
to be
along.
handy for you.
But don't try anything like that again.
You
But
might
I
lose
love
a
it.
little
I love it.
reputation
It's so
doing
good.
this, which,
It's
by
so
the way,
good.
reputation works very similarly to how it did in KCD1. But
Yeah.
my point is that the new crime
Oh,
system is something you'll most likely
this
avoid
guy's
unless
really-
you're planning on doing a run where you're a criminal who's just really bad at what he does.
Yeah.
Anyway, one new crime mechanic I want to mention is that you can now steal horses and either sell them or
finally.
permanently acquire them.
Finally, bro.
In the first game, you could steal a horse, but they wouldn't be yours and they couldn't be
Yeah.
sold. But now, any horse you steal can be taken to a black market dealer who
Hmm.
will either pay for it or will train that horse to be loyal to you and respond to your whistle.
I
I'd
like
like to
that.
keep this horse.
I hope the old one served you well, and that it won't be tough to say goodbye.
There's even a trade-in system where, if you already
follow
have
that.
a horse in addition to the stolen one you want to keep, the black market merchant will deduct the price of your old horse from the cost of
That's
his
good.
services.
Yeah, it makes
And
sense.
if I
Makes
deduct
sense.
the price of yours?
It's like, yeah.
This is what I get.
See,
Take
this
it
is
or
a lot
leave
of the
it.
things
couple
that the game will do that a lot of people might not even notice. Is they're gonna improve on the things that they already had, but in a lot of like subtle ways where you some people might not immediately notice it if it's not pointed out. But then if you were to ever play the second game for like, let's say 100 hours, 200 hours, and then go back to the first game, you'd still love it for the charm it has. But you wouldn't, you would immediately notice that, shit, yeah, there's a couple of like quality of life options that I miss right now. That's what happens most times whenever a transition from one thing to another is good, is you might not immediately always notice everything. You'll notice some big changes, but you'll be like, oh, overall it's kind of close. And then you'll go back one day to play the first one, and you're like, damn, now that I think about it, they're actually kind of missing a lot.
Of other stealth-related additions, you can now throw rocks as a
Even though KCD1 is an amazing game.
distraction, and you can also whistle in stealth now. Basically, if you're crouching instead of calling for your horse, Henry will do a quiet whistle that can draw enemies to you,
Yeah.
which is especially useful if you're trying to take the stealth approach in combat.
Yeah.
Stealth combat is something I definitely need more time with. Early-ish game, it's extremely similar to KCD1, but we'll revisit this topic when I can post a full review. Quite frankly,
Yeah.
I haven't needed to stealth kill
You
much
can't
because
talk.
with my experience from the first game factored in, I haven't really struggled when fighting multiple enemies, which was the main reason I'd ever stealth kill in the first game to begin with.
I think I would do it for the fun of it. Like, whenever I play this game, and when I stream it, I will be streaming it, my first playthrough is most probably gonna be like realistic, quote unquote, kind of roleplay. Like, I'm going to be Henry, trying to do my best to become good and win the game. So if it's smart for me in a situation to actually like go and poison the food in the thing in the bandits camp, I most probably will do that. I'm probably gonna stick to that. But then if I don't feel like it and I just kind of want to go ham and kill them all, just fighting wise, I will. It's gonna be like a natural playthrough. But then after that, I might go around and fuck some shit up, you know?
Anyway, before moving on to
I think that's
performance
what a lot
and
of
bugs,
people
at
will
least
do.
my impressions there, which I want to talk about, we should cover Blacksmithing and Alchemy.
Yes,
And
please.
I single those out because of all the mini games in KCD, these are the new or updated ones. Blacksmithing, of course, didn't exist before, and alchemy has quite a bit more to it, so let's start there.
And by the way, also I'm thinking about it. I also don't mind watching these videos now, this one. One, because I'm weak and I fucking broke. But second, because it's actually not spoilers. If I can get a little bit of knowledge before the game comes out, that just saves me a little bit of time of reading tutorials and trying to like understand. Like if I can already understand it before the game starts, then it's just a smoother transition, I believe.
Now,
some people hate to see anything related to the game. And that's good. Don't watch these videos.
Keep in mind, I loved alchemy in the first game, but if you didn't and thought it was tedious, you probably won't like it in KCD2 either.
I didn't mind. I played it the first
foundation
time.
of this system is the
On
same.
my second playthrough, I'm not doing it, but
at least,
in the first one, I
everything
used
they've
it.
changed or added has been for the better.
Okay,
now,
cool.
granted, certain small additions to the process don't make much of a difference. Like, you now have to lower your pot onto the flame to get it boiling instead of using the bellows. And the bellows are now only used for specific potions that need to be boiled hotter. But what I really
That's
loved
cool.
and mostly want to talk about here are the new potion variants.
Ooh.
In KCD2, you'll quickly notice that each type of
Alchemist.
potion has 3 types: weak, regular, and strong. And which
Okay.
version you get comes down to 2 things: your accuracy in following the recipe, and the quality of your ingredients. Because one thing to keep in mind is that in KCD2, herbs and flowers you collect now go rotten like food did in the first game.
Let me think about this. It seems really cool from the perspective of realism and RPG, realistic, like, but I don't know if it's gonna hinder a little bit of tediousness, the tediousness factor. As much as I love this, I feel like KCD is not, like, it's not an MMORPG where you want to open your game and do your dailies and weeklies and whatever, all that. Like, you kind of just want to play the game and feel in a realistic world. But I wouldn't want to open my game and before any adventure, before any fight, let me check if my marigold is actually expiring soon. Like, I kind of just want to use it. But then again, this is also a good way to like repurpose your game in a sense that, yes, people that don't care about alchemy don't have to use it. People that do care about alchemy but they also love realism, well, they get more of it. So I'm kind of like in the middle. I love both, so I think I would just use it whenever I kind of want to, and then if it gets too tedious, I'll just stop.
So to avoid that, you need to dry your ingredients on a rack to preserve them. Maybe that sounds annoying, but it's not. Drying your ingredients is free. There's a rack next to most alchemy benches, and drying them also brings their quality up to 100%.
Yeah, but what if they've been in your inventory for a while and they're already rotten? Then you can't dry a rotten thing, right? Can you? Okay, if you can, then I take back whatever I said. And maybe I'm just dumb and the game has done it in a very good way. But actually, even then, because it still is an extra step. It still is an extra step, which is not a complaint by any means. I'm just saying, like, the truth. At the end of the day, it's extra steps, and if you didn't love it, but you kind of wanted to try it, this is what it's going to allow you to. You're going to try it, you're going to see, okay, it's done a little bit in a more precise way, it's a bit better, but if you don't want to stick to it, this is not going to make it funner for you to maybe come back to. But if you like stuff like this, then it for sure will be a lot better because they've improved the mechanics by much.
So it's well worth doing. Anyway, the better quality potion, the more and stronger effects it will have.
That makes sense. I
with
like that.
Marigold,
I
for
like
example, a regular version will heal 25 points of health per minute and helps cure a hangover if you have one. But a strong Marigold potion will heal 40 points of health per minute and instantly cures your hangover.
Okay, yeah.
Another
that makes
example,
sense.
even a weak Save Your Schnapps will save your game, but a strong one will not only save your game, but it'll also heal you and increase your stats for 5 minutes.
Okay,
So
no, that's sick.
If you
That's,
save right before
see the results you can get, the things you can have from alchemy might make it worth it for people that were kind of more in the middle, not too much on the just get it done quick, not too much on the role play, like in the middle. Now, because of the things that potions give you, some people might sway a little bit more on like, all right, fine, I'll do it a bit, you know?
for a tough situation, you'll go into that situation strengthened up.
Yep,
The
not
variants
only
just
saving your game, but also being healed up and
Add
strengthened
a lot
up.
of
Yeah,
depth
that's
to alchemy
crazy.
and make potion use a lot more fun, at least with the strong ones. Since I brought Save Your Schnapps up though, this has been known, but they are indeed still in the game, although I
sense.
will say Warhorse were definitely telling the truth when they said KCD2 autosaves more. I have had 0 frustrating losses of progress, quests autosave a generous
Okay,
amount,
good,
so
good.
where you'll actually need the Save Your Schnapps, or at least where they'll be nice,
Right before
is when
combat?
you're out exploring in the open world but aren't doing a specific quest.
Makes
Then the
sense.
game can go a long time without autosaving, and I mean, that said, while I can't tell you what to do, I would recommend just engaging with Alchemy once you play. It makes
Yeah.
everything a lot more fun, and if you want to save your game more,
If you
Save
can
Your
stack
Schnapps
it up,
is your
just
friend,
do it a
and
little
it's easy
bit.
to make. Next up,
Also, if you really don't like Alchemy too much, but you want to like have Savior Schnapps, either buy them, find them, or worst case scenario, just do one potion, the Savior Schnapps. Like if you can know one ingredient to one potion, well, I mean, one recipe for one potion, I really don't think it's a problem, especially if you get a lot of them. At some point, you just fucking stack like 50 or something.
though, let's talk about the new blacksmithing minigame.
This is what
was
I wanna see
famously
so
cut
much.
from KCD1, kind of weird since Henry
Yeah,
was raised as a
Henry the
but
blacksmith.
We finally have this minigame, and, well, in my experience, so far at least, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
You can find or buy blacksmithing components. I
Makes
tended
sense.
to find them when shooting down bird nests, plus they can often be stolen. And
Okay.
then those components can be used after you find
Sketches,
or purchase
makes
sketches
sense.
which tell you what you need to craft a sword.
Bro,
or
by the
whatever.
way, I know this is like not what he's talking about at all, but this menu aesthetic is actually so good. Hold up, wait, whoa, look at this. First of all, this looks like a nice paper. Like, I don't know, the vibe it's giving me is just like a nice quality paper. Second of all, you can't see it here, but I'll show you. Look at this. Sorry. Look at this. It shows your armor, your weapons, the stats it does, stab, I'm assuming slash stab and blunt damage. That's very cool. I understood this immediately without even really looking at it too much. So that's a good sign. Then you can see your conspicuousness, everything in a well-organized way. Then the thing I'm the most excited about. This is the thing in the menu that really gets my juices flowing. I'm moist right now. This, look at this beautiful red shield crest looking thing, bro. You see to the right of it, it's yellow. You know why this matters? Not because of the colors, even though I made it sound like it might. It's because this changes your presets of armors. You do not understand how many times I have struggled in this current gameplay, like playthrough of KCD1 that I'm doing right now. I have struggled because every time I had to look at all my armors one by one. Oh, which part of it is this? Is this body 1, body 2? Am I equipping it? Is it the strongest? I don't get it. Like, this is so easy. You set this up once. On the right, you can set up like a sneaky, stealthy armor one. And then after that, you know what you set up? Like a noble clothing one or something, whatever you want. And then you just cycle through that whole. Cycle. So good. I love it. Thank you. Let's move on with his sketches and whatever he was saying.
Whatever it is you're looking to make. The actual minigame itself is really simplistic. You just heat up a piece of metal until it's yellow, and then bang on it in what is essentially a rhythm game. Henry will
Rhythm
whistle
game,
once you
alright.
found the right pace.
You go with the whistling?
Then
That's actually
it.
so sick.
Henry will comment once it's done, and then heats it one last time before quenching. Honestly, it's right in line with the other minigames.
Pretty cool.
It's less complicated than Alchemy, but more complex than pretty much anything else. It
I
fits
think
right
I
in.
would.
So, to wrap
Okay,
this
I think
video
I'm
up,
gonna
let's
do that.
quickly talk about the technical side of things. And also, by the way, if you've enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, as it really
Yeah, I'll
helps
leave a
my
like.
content get out
It's a
there.
good
YouTube
video,
puts so
Tom.
much stock in likes, and there will be plenty more KCD2 coverage here over the next month, so feel free to subscribe if interested. So, that said, if you're worried about performance, well, I can't say don't be, because I've been playing this game on first a 4080 and then a 4090, but what I will say
Damn.
is on that equipment, the performance has been very good, very stable. On absolute max
Performance.
settings, ultra everything, 4K, with DLSS on, I'm getting about 95 frames per second on
God
average.
damn.
Sometimes-
All right, I know he has a monster PC from what he said, but if he's able to play ultra on everything, DLSS and 90 frames, I'm pretty sure my PC can handle medium. DLSS off, anti-aliasing off, all that shit off. Motion blur on the lowest, you know, just... I'm pretty sure he can handle it like 60 at least, right? Please.
Sometimes going above
Please,
100,
please.
sometimes dipping into the 80s, but the only
gonna be
time I've
streaming
ever
the game
had any
too.
visually noticeable frame drops, to my eye at least, is when the game saves.
Okay, that's
Occasionally, when
fine.
autosaves happen, I'll drop to like
I like
no
how
FPS
I like
for a
how
couple
he's blurring the quest. That's good.
seconds, which is annoying, but hopefully it's something that can be fixed.
I don't care.
Speaking of potential fixes, well, if you're worried about bugs, at least on PC, I think I can say that you shouldn't be.
Okay.
Warhorse said
Okay.
at the very first KCD preview event that I attended back in, I think, July, that they felt like KCD2, the state of it 5 months ago, was already more polished than KCD1 is
Perfect.
right now,
Perfect.
after all the patches. And I can attest to that 1,000 times over. I've ran into
Nice.
0 meaningful bugs.
Nice.
0, and by
that's
meaning
so sexy. But that's what I'm saying. That's kind of why I want to use a longsword, because of combat like that. But I also love the mace. So I don't know, like, I understand. This is the one thing that's worrying me just a little bit. Like, I understand why you would say that with the longsword. You have master strikes and it's like a more refined art of the combat. I get it, but like, there should be another mechanic then for the mace. I don't know. Like, I'm not a game dev, but I feel like if the mace is just bashing, and the longsword is like this cool new mechanic that we haven't really experienced, and it's essentially master strikes but enhanced, like 4.0. I would kind of want to have at least like a 2.0 with the other weapons, unless the other weapons have their own. I don't know. I really don't. I'm essentially just probably going to use 2 different weapons. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to see which one I prefer and keep that long term.
I mean, the absolute worst bug I've had was a missing piece of dialogue. No broken quests, no forced reloads because I couldn't progress.
That's so good.
No falling
good.
through the map, nothing
Hey,
of the
Game
sort
of the
or
Year
anything
contender,
even
guys.
close to that.
I believe in this game.
At least up until the point.
As much as you might hear me complain a little bit about the my worries about the combat, I still know and I believe what they're saying, that it's going to be great. And also, if you see how he's holding the bow, this is so much more precise. I know the combat will be overall better. And I know the game is going to be way better. And I know it has a chance of being Game of the Year. So that's where my opinions lie.
I haven't played past anyway, is incredibly polished on PC. Anyway, I think that is all for me today. And keep in mind, this is...
Makes sense. Makes sense. I like it. Wait,
just a preview. I'll have a full review around...
Yeah, he'll have our full review. So guys, it's Neon Knight. I really love this video. It was good. Look, I broke. I know I broke. I watched the video. I had said in my streams I was going to try to stay away from it, but honestly, I can't, bro. I really couldn't. I had to see something. And unless something new, big comes out, I think this is it. I'm going to stick to playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. I'm going to have a video that's coming out on this new game that I'm not going to say until the video drops. But I saw a video of a new game that's made by the Witcher 3 devs. So a new video is about to come out on that too, of me reacting. And overall, leave a comment of what you think about my opinion on the combat. I really want to know what you guys think. If you were like mace or axe enjoyers or saber enjoyers, do you think this is going to affect you in any way or what? I really want to know that. So share with a friend, like the video as he said for his video. It really helps. Subscribe, that also really helps. Let's get to 1,000 subs. If you like my type of content, if you like my reaction, the way I talk about things, show it. I love this community. I love growing it. It's very fun. The streams have been doing better. Thank you guys so much for that. Anyways, on that note, Genat's out. Peace.